Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sarah here. Good to have you back with me this beautiful morning here. I'm recording this in a good time because there's sunlight and I really want, to take some energy from the sun, because you know how this sun elevates your mood, balances, any de-stress in your body. It's such a beautiful way, and I find it quite, the moment for me. I truly don't like it here when it's really dark and there's no sunlight, or it's cloudy and it's all moody. It's just not my favorite time of the season, but it's fun to play around with sweaters and fashion and wearing different things. So that's that. In today's video, we'll be talking all about energy and how do we feel around people, right? There were so many studies and research talking about that famous quote that says, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? And in the beginning I used to question that. I used to say, what does that even mean, right? And I used to kind of search for in my environment and look for, try to make sense of what that quote meant. And what I settled on is that it's actually so true, and that I've noticing maybe with some people that I surround myself with, I'm maybe not feeling quite great about myself, or that those people don't really bring out the best in me. It's not really to blame them about who they are, what they do, and why they're the person that they are. It's looking inwards and exploring what that feels, what that means to you. Let me just move that camera. So if there are people in your life that you don't resonate with, you don't connect with them, but you only keep them for the sake of connection. You want them to be there because you just wanted them to be around, or you don't want to be by yourself. So you just keep them as like a trophy, imagine it. And maybe that's not the greatest example, but stick with me to understand what I mean by that. People would want to keep them because they're there. They're almost filling a space in their life, and it's always the place it's coming from. So if I'm going into relationships or going into friendships from a place of I need something from it, or I'm so dependent on it, otherwise I'm by myself and I don't like the way that I am with myself, and whatever story that you say to yourself. So I want you to become aware of that, where in your life you are just keeping someone for the sake of having them, but you're not getting something out of that. And that sometimes can't be true because anytime we're in with people, anytime you're with people, there is something that you get out of being in that relationship, that connection, that friendship, right? And I'm not really specifically talking about romantic relationships, but I'm talking about relationships in general. Whether it's a child with parent, or a friend with a friend, or a partner, anyone really in your life that's close to you. So that being said, they're almost looking for someone who's filling a space, for someone to just be there. And in my personal life, if I were to give you a background story, there were times when I had people in my life, right? So I think that would be friends or a family member, just to have them, just to have their presence, so that I don't feel like I'm by myself, that I'm not alone, right? But what that did, I remember back in the days when, I used to have those friends, and it wasn't someone I really wanted to hold on to, or I thought like how friends are for different reasons. You hang out with one person and you speak about totally different things, but then you hang out with this next person and you speak about totally different things. So it's really about both of the energies, your energy and that person's energy, while being in that conversation. And how you know if a person is is good for you, is you're compatible. I sometimes go beyond the compatibility and let everyone talks about it, right? Everyone says like, oh, this person's compatible with me. They have the same interests as I do. So I'd really get along pretty quick. But then what I say is, with that, I have to look within and see where I can find a string or like a thin line between that and my energy, my presence with that person. How do I feel when I'm with this person? Am I hiding aspects of me? Do I feel ashamed? Do they bring out the best or the worst in me, right? Because, I kid you not that there are people who, bring out the best in you, but also bring out the worst. So in you trying to see what relationships work for you, you need to identify those patterns. You need to see what kind of people you resonate with, right? But at the same time, how do you feel in the presence of that person? I think we're so quick to judge a person by how they look physically and by our first conversations, but I'm more in tune with a person when I'm physically with them, right? And just feeling their energy, just talking to them, and maybe going out a couple of times to know if this person, is healthy for my energy, is healthy for my space, is healthy for me to share what it is that I want, right? So in looking for those, it really helps if you kind of put out a list of things that you really care about a person, you really care or need in that friendship, right? So I remember doing this exercise, and there was a bunch of needs that I want in a person in that friendship to be like, yes, this person is someone I really want to surround myself with, and I just feel the bulb of light just shining through, and my energy is just radiating. I don't feel like leaving. I want to spend time with this person. It can be a friend or a partner, right? But you would know it instantly after a few conversations. It's not about the topic you share. It's not about what you talk about. It's how they respond to you, how they look at you. What's their feel like? Are they stressed? Are they anxious? Do they make you feel anxious when they're stressed? Things like that, to really observe what's going on in the room. So you almost imagine yourself taking yourself out of the room and just observing the whole conversation, observing the two of you, or in a group, maybe if you are in a group setting. It helps to really become an observant of your life situations. This is kind of me taking the topic outside of relationships and people, but into your career or into anything else that you're deciding. So taking yourself out of the situation and becoming the observer of what's happening, and just seeing, kind of like floating on top to see what, how you're feeling, how you're sitting, how you're talking, how you're looking, how you're being present. Are you confident? Are you anxious? Do you feel nervous? Bunch of different cues that really take you to the root cause of what's actually happening right now, right? And with that also, you need to recognize that there are some people that don't like that. There are some people that won't resonate with the energy. There are some people that will like, oh, she's a weirdo, or I would get that, in my life. I got that a lot in my school, in my work field, and it was pretty uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable to have people come at you and point out things in you that you're like, I'm not like that, or I didn't do that. So where are you bringing this up? And then I would get into this defense mode of, how dare you see this aspect of me? Or how dare you point out something in me that wasn't brought into my awareness until you said it. And sometimes people are wrong, right? Sometimes they assume things, they say things about you, and it necessarily, it doesn't mean it's true, but it's what you believe about yourself. If someone is saying to you, you have, amazing, whatever, like amazing body, or you have a great personality, the moment that they say that, notice your body and notice how you react to that. Notice how you feel about what they said. If you don't truly believe that about yourself, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. You're like, no, I don't think I am. Or if someone who's like very, self-aware, or they're confident who they are, they would say thanks, and they would take that as a compliment, right? And they wouldn't really push it away. Some people are so shy to say like, hey, thanks, like I really like that about myself. And it's you being humble, but also taking those good things about yourself and not making it mean, or say to yourself that it's egoic to have that, or to care about myself. It's not mean to think that you're worthy of receiving. It's not mean, and it's not selfless to say like, hey, I do have a great personality, and showing yourself and taking up space. I think for me, when I was young, I had a pretty difficult time to take up space. It was really difficult. I would tell myself like, hey, it's not my space, it's not my time. I'm taking up people's space, and I should bring out people, I should encourage people, and I'm taking so much responsibility of where people stand and where I stand. And I didn't realize that I was actually being hard on myself. I didn't realize that I was comparing myself. I didn't realize I was competing with myself. And I didn't realize that I was pressurizing myself to be in a position where I have to, I have to set a tone for the environment, that I'm responsible for it. And imagine if you're doing that in your life, and how much pressure you put on yourself to be responsible for things. That, I feel like, is a great trait in a leader. A leader can be an introvert and shy. I really think that's a misconception that people have, that leaders are loud, confident, amazing, they're not nervous, they're not shy. So I think a great leader is someone who's well-spoken, someone who's articulate, someone who's aware, someone who deeply cares, right? Instead of someone being like that true confident, and that confidence will slowly build up. It's not something that you're born with necessarily. So leaders are not born with confidence. They're not born with leadership skills. They're not born to take up the world and make a change, right? So it's redefining and refining the definition of leadership and what that means. It comes with its responsibilities. But a leader is not loud and handsome and whatever traits you put on a leader. So I invite you to consider what leadership means to you. What does a leader do? How do they act? And coming back to our first topic, which was about energy, understanding how you feel towards something, and trust that you'll never see that your energy is lying to you. You'll always figure out something that is not in alignment with yourself. But it's in the questioning of it and realizing that there's something more to this situation, right? So consider what that looks like for you, and you can do this exercise in any area of your life to see where you are and to see if things are making sense to you, if things are not making sense to you, and how we can make subtle shifts between, you know, what you want from your life, what is it that you decide, and what others are expecting from you. Because we're in this world where everyone is saying their own input about things, and we end up getting lost and feeling foggy, and we lose the compass that we're heading towards. We don't have a redirection, waiting for someone to come and tell us what the direction is and which direction to take. So having to step into your courage is where change begins, and where you can really get to explore yourself, to live authentically, to decide authentically, to have authentic relationship, as opposed to any relationships just so that you keep that image or that place where you get to hold people. But do you really question what kind of people are you holding on to? Are they good for your energy? Are they bad for your energy? So get you to consider and weigh down the life that you want to live, the life that you're living right now. So I hope this helps, and you know, it cleared some of the things that maybe you were thinking about before watching this video. And watching this video tells me that you are into growth and you want to improve yourself and become your authentic self, because authenticity can mean different for different people. So what does authenticity mean to you? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And what person you need to become to tap into the authentic person, that authentic version of you. All right, that is it for today's video, and give me a thumbs up and make sure to share it with someone who you think will benefit from these tips, or just even listening, or those reflection points will really help them connect to their authenticity as well. Without further ado, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thanks.